it's a perfect cue actually for something that's on another page of these sheets. It's actually, in fact, just turn the page over. Do you remember, I'm sure you'll all have but I would think come across it before, Maslow's hierarchy of needs. Do you remember that? There's a bit look of enthusiasm at the back of the room there. Well, the thing is, it is really a very useful model. It was originally thought of in the context of, as I understand it anyway, motivating employees in a kind of long-term kind of way. However, it also applies in the moment, throughout the day. And one of the things, just to kind of remind you, if you start down at the bottom of this, the most basic needs are the physiological ones, food, water, and so on. And then you move on to safety, physical safety, and also psychological safety, which, in other words, fear. And the example you've just talked about is, well, we're into something here. It appears anyway the head teacher has got a fear thing going on. And one of the takeaways I would suggest is, in just about any situation you care to mention or any relationship, there is fear going on. And if you can figure out what the fear is, you're halfway to sorting it out. What are the people involved afraid of? Okay? So that's a kind of useful kind of one-line kind of takeaway. Where is the fear and what is it? All right. Just moving on up this. The next one above is the love and belongingness thing. Belonging to a family or a workplace or whatever. And then you have esteem. Do we feel good about ourselves? Do we perceive that other people value us? And then you've got cognitive, which is thinking, being kind of intellectually creative and so on. And then you have aesthetic needs, which is liking pictures, nice things, music, and so on. And finally, you get the self-actualization, sort of famously at the top of the hierarchy, which is people are getting to the stage where people are actually realizing themselves in the sense of living on their life's purpose and that sort of thing. In other words, the kind of deeper, more profound kind of level. I think just part that for this afternoon sort of thing. In a way, in the context of these issues, the interesting bit of this is down at the bottom. Because, as I say, fear is very often the driving emotion in the situation. And if you can figure out what the fear is, you can then do something about it. But notice, because of this hierarchy of needs, if people if they're afraid of something, and maybe they feel like they don't belong, and they don't feel that good about themselves, you can essentially forget about them thinking about any business-related problem or issue, whatever. Maslow's hierarchy says if people are scared, don't feel like they belong, and don't have a good self-image kind of thing, they're not going to be productive employees, because they're not going to get up to the higher parts of this where the workplace is really expecting them to function. I personally think that's a big deal, and I've certainly worked for organizations that believed in kind of management by fear, essentially. And sure, there are times when people need, a bit of a shove sort of thing, but an organization that operates on fear all the time is basically operating down at the bottom of this set of principles, so its output is going to be pretty mediocre, I would suggest.